After the Los Angeles City Council effectively criminalized being homeless, the police are out in full force upholding the ban on those without shelter from living outside. I'm Caroline Johnson, thanks for watching. This video that looks like something out of Mad Max took place on the Venice beachfront on Tuesday. The Venice Beach, where home prices have skyrocketed from $300,000 25 years ago to over $2 million today. Rent in the area has increased 65% in only 10 years. And what is progressive liberal Los Angeles' answer? Is it to build more affordable housing or to ensure temporary shelter provided by the city is safe, fair, and stable? Nope, it's this. So what does this new ordinance 4118 do exactly? The ordinance prohibits sitting, sleeping, or storing items on public property near sensitive locations: libraries, parks, daycare centers, and schools. Chelsea Shover, an assistant professor at UCLA's David Geffen School of Medicine, said she and her students found that if every location identified in the ordinance were off limits, there would be few areas left where people could sleep or camp, particularly in downtown and parts of South Los Angeles, where a huge number of the unhoused currently live. Only 2 out of 15 council members voted against the ordinance. One, Mike Bonin, who notably is the only city council member to have a lived experience of homelessness, and Nithya Raman, who was propelled to victory last fall by a coalition of left organizations, despite her opponent gaining the endorsements of Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton. Full disclosure, I worked on her campaign after learning of her dedicated, thoughtful, and compassionate approach to the homelessness crisis, an approach not shared by most of her colleagues. Everyone else, including council members who are landlords and those who consider themselves progressive, voted for the criminalization. As I've mentioned in videos before, the biggest contributor to homelessness is a lack of affordable housing. But what do we do in the meantime as we wait for those projects to be completed and for more affordable units to go on the market? We should have temporary shelters with a guaranteed path to permanent housing. And this is where one of the biggest myths about the homelessness crisis in Los Angeles arises. Many liberals use the talking point that the unhoused simply won't accept shelter. So what are we supposed to do about it besides get the cops involved? But if so many people are refusing the shelters, shouldn't we be begging the question as to why? Today we're answering that question that so many progressives don't think to ask. For starters, the shelter being offered by the city is not permanent, and it's very rare it will lead to secure housing down the road. In fact, only 15% of residents in the LA shelter system ever transition into permanent housing, and the perpetual cycling in and out of shelter after shelter causes extreme harm to already vulnerable people's sense of security and stability. If you couldn't afford housing, would you rather be shuttled around day after day, in and out with no prospect at a long-term solution, forced to live with only the items you can carry on your back, and separated from your family and the area of the city you know best? Or would you set yourself up at a location where you know the community, the setting, and can utilize a space to provide some necessary stability in your life while you get back on your feet? Furthermore, the rules and regulations at many of these shelters are straight up draconian. They include things like separating you from your partner and pets, not allowing children or others to visit you in the location, virtually locking you in from 10 p.m. until the morning, only allowing one bag of your belongings, etc., etc. Many shelters are run by religious institutions and have been proven time and time again to be hostile to the LGBTQ community, with countless complaints from transgender individuals specifically about the abusive conditions they faced in the city shelters. The most progressive city in America can do better than this, and it absolutely has to. If not, Los Angeles is primed to become the dystopian capital of America, a shocking reality we can already see on the beaches of Venice. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at Caro Johnson 917, and if you live in Los Angeles, you can reach out to me and I'll point you in the direction of some organizations who center the lives of the unhoused in their outreach work.